What's happening, y'all? It's your boy Ben Mahari here, representing Mahari Nation Sports Podcast. Yeah, this basketball season is going to be off the chain, man. There's been a lot of surprising stories. And one particular story that has been catching my attention lately has been the struggles of the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, shout out to my homie 78 Sports CV. I love the brother, but I have to be brutally honest with this Bucks, and I know it's going to really hurt him to his core. But it's what I do on this channel. So, right now, as it stands, the Milwaukee Bucks right now are 2-7. They are literally 14th in the Eastern Conference. They're one of the worst teams in the NBA right now. When I watch them against the Knicks, it's pretty much a travesty. This team right now is among one of the worst defensive teams in the NBA. When I was looking at the stat lines this year, the Bucks as a defensive team, they're ranked 21st in total overall defense, and they give up at least 114 points per game. Teams are shooting better than the Bucks. Teams are being able to score in the paint more efficiently against the Bucks. They are pretty much slow at plotting defensively. And there's going to be three different reasons why the Milwaukee Bucks have struggled. And I'm going to really break this down in three different subjects. Number one, the Bucks did not improve their roster. And I'm going to say it like this. Ever since they won the championship in 2021, they have been a team that has been content of keeping the core pieces that won them the championship, which I can understand to a certain extent. But when you have an opportunity to try to improve the roster by trying to get in new, younger pieces around the core, it's basically an opportunity to try to continue, building on the success of what you previously had. And when I look at this team right now, this team, when I looked at the age range of this team, they are the oldest team in the NBA with an average age of 30 years old. With Damian Lillard literally around 34 years old. Giannis is 30. Brook Lopez is 36. All right? Bobby Portis is 29, now entering his 30s, right? And then Chris Middleton, he's going to be 33 this season. So when you think about it, when you're a winning franchise, let's say, for example, like the San Antonio Spurs, when they had their big three of Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, and Tony Parker, they had a slow transitional period when they brought in younger pieces around them that made the transition, very smooth for them. That's when they brought in George Hill early on, and then they pulled off the massive trade, getting Kawhi Leonard during the draft. I'm talking about making these slow transitional moves to get younger pieces around them to try to continue to develop and then help the older core win more ball games and win championships. And so what's happened here is the Milwaukee Bucks as an organization didn't do anything to surround them with younger pieces. And now you're basically playing with guys that are now on their last legs. Like Brook Lopez, every time I watch this guy play, he's not the same Brook Lopez as he once was. The man's getting old. He's always getting beat defensively. And that three-point shot that he, developed over the last couple of seasons is non-existent anymore. It's literally ridiculous. And so I'm going to say it too. I think that it ties into number two. The number two reason why the Bucks have been struggling this year has been their controversial moves to try to, keep Giannis happy. And what has happened here is that now Giannis is at the point now where he really much seeing the writing on the wall. Here's the problem with Giannis. Giannis, people want to believe that he's a loyal dude. And I try to tell people all the time, Giannis is only loyal if the organization sees that they're trying to make significant improvements to the roster so they can keep winning. Ever since that championship in 2021, he's missed significant time due to injuries during the postseason. Now, we all know what he brings. I mean, the guy is still averaging 31 points per game this season. But at the same time, he's made some quotes that literally has stated that if the team doesn't improve the roster or they don't continue on winning, that he'll look elsewhere. Giannis is at the point of his career where he has no time to waste, considering the fact that all the other teams in the Eastern Conference have made significant improvements. So I'm trying to tell people that Giannis doesn't have much patience anymore. He's now into his 30s. All right. He's still playing at a high level, but at some point, that high level will start to decline. And he doesn't want to miss that window of his prime to win more championships. And if it means he has to go elsewhere, then that's how it's going to be. You can't always try to blame media people to try to say, oh, why are you making these, narratives, this and that? Listen, sometimes you got to look at the player right in front of him and realize that his time doesn't want to be wasted anymore. And this is what I try to explain people. Organizations will dump you to the ground when they see your production slides, even with the star players, right? So this loyalty thing needs to stop. I'm tired of people always trying to say, oh, the player needs to be loyal to his team for the rest of his career. No, he don't. If the organization's not doing anything to improve the team, then why waste his career? Why waste his prime years there? The difference between Tim Duncan and, let's say, the Dirk Nowitzki that spent their entire careers with one team is that the organization continuously kept building. They kept surrounding him with new, younger pieces that continue on the winning. Especially in San Antonio, they made a commitment to Tim Duncan when he got drafted to keep building the team around his talents. And they ended up winning 5 championships because of it. Now, I know that's what Giannis wants, but is it going to be in Milwaukee? I highly doubt it. And then, which leads to number 3. The number 3 reason why the Bucks have struggled this year, and it has to be said, Doc Rivers. I'm telling you right now, I don't understand why Doc Rivers gets opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. All right? Is it going to be his last coaching stop? No. I still think there's going to be another organization that will give him another chance. But this guy accepts no accountability whatsoever. The guy always loves to throw blame around other people, right? He never accepts any full responsibility for his mistakes and his failures. I'm telling you, Doc Rivers is the most overrated coach in NBA history and still riding off of the coattails of the 2008 Celtics championship, right? The big thing is he's never made full-time adjustments. His rotations are trash, all right? He's constantly shuffling his coaching staff, right? More importantly, he publicly blamed his players for all of their mishaps instead of looking himself in the mirror. And this is why the Milwaukee Bucks have struggled. I said to you before, when he got hired on after they basically made a terrible mistake of firing Adrian Griffin after leading to a 34-13 record last season, the Bucks went 17-19 the entire time with Doc Rivers. So really, what did it change? It changed absolutely nothing. And then you compound with the fact that, yeah, you made the trade for Damian Lillard, which honestly he had one of his best years of his career in his final season in Portland, right? No, nobody is that stupid that basically you would not pull the trigger. Of course you would. But now, have you seen Drew Holiday making an impact with the Boston Celtics? Now they're on the cusp of possibly going back to back. Now, it doesn't mean to say that Drew Holiday didn't deserve criticism for his past postseason performances. Yes, he does. All right, he didn't show up in his losses against the Miami Heat numerous times in the playoffs. But at the same time, he was one of the core pieces that really was the anchor and one of the foundational guys in terms of their defense, especially with Mike Budenholzer running things on the defensive side. I'll tell you this. Firing Mike Budenholzer was perhaps one of their biggest mistakes, and it led to a carousel of coaching changes. So you compile all that stuff, and now you see the Milwaukee Bucks are where they're at. They're 2-7. They're not even close to a title contender, and I don't believe that they're going to turn this around. And it's only going to be a matter of time before the Bucks pretty much wash their hands of this team, and then they're going to look into trade offers for Giannis. And I can tell you right now, you don't think the rest of the league is on notice to try to make calls or try to propose trade proposals to get Giannis to their team? I'm telling you, it's only a matter of time before he goes. Now, selfishly, for me as a Bulls fan, I would love for him to come to my Chicago Bulls, but I'm realistic to the fact that he's never coming to the Bulls. So, and they don't even have the necessary, stock or necessary pieces to propose for a good trade for Giannis to Chicago. So I just do that to joke around, but he ain't going to Chicago. I could see him going to New York, or I could possibly see him going to Golden State. Those are 2 possible destinations, but again, you got to offer something huge on the table for him. So, but at the end of the day, I don't see this team turning things around, and I think they're going to get worse. Could they get on a winning streak? Anything could be possible, but their defense has been non-existent. Their offense has no direction at all. More importantly, Doc Rivers is now throwing more blame on other people, right? And I told you that Doc Rivers was going to be a failure of a coach in Milwaukee, and he's continuously keep proving my point. When you have a coach that's blown numerous 3-1 leads in the playoffs, and is always constantly butting heads with other players, to the point where now they go on podcasts and explain how terrible of a coach he was, the writing's on the wall with Doc Rivers. And compounded to the fact that Giannis' patience is starting to run thin, you got a disaster that could possibly blow on all of the heads of the Milwaukee Bucks. So, at the end of the day, man, those are the 3 reasons why I think that the Milwaukee Bucks are going to be doomed to fail. They're terrible defensively. More importantly, they didn't improve on the core, surrounding him with younger pieces. And more importantly, Doc Rivers' lack of rotations and lack of accountability has really put the Bucks in the 8-hole right now. And now Giannis, I'm telling you, his time is starting to take in Milwaukee. And if you think he's going to stay in Milwaukee forever, you got another thing coming. It's only a matter of time before he pretty much decides, I had enough here in Milwaukee. Because at the end of the day, the NBA is a basketball business. If the organization is not improving anything on the roster to try to keep him happy, what's the point of staying? You know what I'm saying? So that's all I got to say about it. You know, I know it's a very harsh video, but it has to be said, and I am brutally honest about it. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. And with that, I'm out. Peace.